Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about Summerset, hybrids, and what I've got going on this week. So this next week, just to let you all know, I'm going to be releasing some healer builds. Now, I know that this recently, I just did all these tanks that were very meta-ish and meta-style, or more popular to the popular playstyle at the end game. I did that because I know people have been asking, you know, for more variety, and I figured I'd offer some of my ideas for that. But I'm going back to my standard setup of releases now. So the healer builds I'm going to be releasing, I am going to be releasing a couple that are meta style, and then the rest are my normal, you know, flair on them, as people like to call it. But they're going to be that. But the thing I wanted to talk about most in this video is the hybrid. Because in this update, hybrids are actually a thing. They're no longer a fantasy or a dream. They are actually going to be a thing. But there is particular setups that are going to work better than others. For example, in this setup I'm using here, 28k Magicka, 28k Stamina, 17k health. And when you have Warhorn, which I will go ahead and try and get my ultimate up while I'm talking to you guys, but when you have Warhorn and everything, you can actually pull a 20k or 30k Magicka Stamina kind of thing, and it's actually kind of nice when you have it all running and working and everything. I'm just gonna try and get the ultimate up so I can show you guys. Actually, let me do something real quick. I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna let this run out real quick. I'm gonna try and get out of combat, because what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna run a rotation and let you guys see for yourselves the total weapon damage from a full parse from this thing, so you guys can get a general idea of how well hybrids are gonna work in this update. So, gonna drink my potion. Oops, I did that wrong. I forget to get my attack off there, so I'm going to go ahead and get a heavy attack. And then we're going to do Warhorn. And just keep... So you guys can see, like, 30k Stamina Magicka. If I had somebody running Abin, I'd actually have a 20k health. So this setup is actually really, really good with its combination. And we're going to let this thing go out of combat, and I'm going to show you guys the amount of weapon damage and spell damage this thing actually gets in total. So you guys can see. Come on. Alright. So here we go. It looks like the timer is out. We're going to go ahead and hit our F6 key. And here's the spell damage for this. And here's the weapon damage. And that's maximum. Now, the uptime of this weapon damage and spell damage is pretty much about equal to the crit, which is 55% there on the stamina side, and a 42% crit on the back side. But if you notice, we did 64% critical damage during that fight with 35%, and it was just a minor thing. But I just wanted you guys to see this. We can get a really high weapon and spell damage. Now, to look over here at this, our recoveries aren't too good. Our weapon and spell damage are equal because we are running Pelinals with this, but we're also running Twiceborn Star. And Twiceborn Star allows you to have 2 Mundus Stones. So we can run the Thief Mundus with the Lover, and we can get this really high crit. But you guys are probably wondering, well, how are you getting so much weapon damage? Well, that's the trick. This is a medium armor build, because hybrids only work in medium because of this passive here. This one increases your base weapon damage by 12%. Using dual wield, you get another 6% increase in 6% increase of your offhand weapon damage applied to your damage. And then on top of that, with a 20% from using the potion, you can increase your weapon damage to around 3,800 and something with all this. And then the 5% for being a DK, and the Earth and Heart passive, is it Mountain's Blessing? Mountain's Blessing gives you minor brutality for 20 seconds to you and your group, increasing weapon damage by 5%. So this 5% plus the 20% from the potions, 25% increase, plus the 12%, plus the 6%, plus all this other stuff, you get a lot more weapon damage with this. Well, it also applies to spell damage because of Pelinals. So Pelinals gives you max health, stam, and magic recovery, but your spell and weapon damage both become the highest of 2 values. So it's a really powerful set. The next set we're running is the Twiceborn Star, which gives you max health, max stamina, max magicka, and then 5-piece, you can have 2 Mundus Stones boons at the same time. So it gives you that greater overall setup. Now, if you look on the jewelry, I have 3 infused with weapon damage, and then I'm running Dama House. Now, Dama House is the ultimate hybrid setup because it gives you both magicka stamina and then the 2-piece. When you deal damage, you have a 15% chance to create either a ring of fire or molten earth around you for 10 seconds, dealing 1390 flame damage or 1260 physical damage every 1 second. Standing within the ring grants you 200 spell or weapon damage. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So this is overall the best hybrid setup you can come up with. Now, I want to say something. When I say the best, I literally mean the best. You can't do any better than this, even with Shackle Breakers. The reason why is because of how this build values the stats. On a Nightblade, you can actually get higher stats because you can get a lot more bonuses to magicka as a Dark Elf, and then you can put it more into stamina, giving you about a 29 stamina magicka, which makes them the better hybrid overall. But any class can be a hybrid, and that's kind of what I'm showing you here. It's like all these different things you can do to get these greater benefits. The other thing is that the skills I'm using on the back bar to proc that 5% from Mountain's Blessing is Eruption. And if I wanted to, I could actually use Molten Armaments. Now, this applies to Major Sorcery. But since I'm not using Major Sorcery, I can use this to get that fully charged heavy attack increase by 40%, which makes this build better overall with damage for heavy attacks, but still not quite as good as what I can get as it is. So there's a lot of different things that I've tried with these, with hybrids and all this different stuff, and I can tell you that any class can be a hybrid, and any race can pull off being a hybrid. It's just the Dark Elf is definitely the best in slot kind of for that, like the best choice overall, because they get 6% max stamina and magicka, but they also get an extra 3% magicka, so they get a 9% max magicka with a 6% stamina, and they're just fantastic hybrids. On top of that, they are the only class that has passives that benefit being more hybridized with things like this. Increase the flame damage by 7%, frost shock damage by 2%. So you can use other things with this. So like this, the shock enchant I have on the back bar is actually getting boosted. And you can see how much damage that thing does, 4,216. Where when you look at the flame damage one I have on the front bar, it does 3,370. Almost. Like, not quite equal, but if this was an infused weapon, then it would do more damage. And I've tried, like I said, I've tried a lot of different things with this, guys, to try and get the right combination and everything, to get the build to work better. But this overall is the better option. Now, I'm not good at rotation, so I can't give you a definitive, like, damage per second kind of ratio with this thing, but I can tell you that for me, without having major breach or major fracture, anything like that, I can pull with this build and the 4K I have, penetration, I can pull about 15 to 20k DPS, and that's without all penetration there. with total penetration and everything, I'm guessing somebody who's better with rotations, better with playing a DPS build, can probably get this build in the right setup, with the right skills and everything. They can probably pull closer to 30k, maybe 32k DPS with this, if not more, because it is so on balance almost with most DPS setups that it kind of plays well into that. But it would take somebody with a little bit more knowledge and skill to pull off the rotations better. But this is, stat-wise, the best setup you can get. Now, there is other combinations like Juliana's Hundings with a weapon, spell, damage, enchant on both of these, but you're still not going to reach the levels this thing can. You can use sets like even Pelinals with the... I'm trying to think of the set now. The training set that you can get. It's an overland set, but I'll go ahead and pull it out here. So this is the trainee set. And trainee is basically a whole bunch of stats. And you can use this set with that stuff. And because trainee comes in light, medium, or heavy. So you can get this in medium and then put all weapon damage and use Pelinals with it until you can get like Twiceborn Star. But Twiceborn Star, Dama House, and that setup in particular is overall the best setup you can have. You can't get better. You can try, but you won't get any better. I've tried all the combinations. Even, like I said, Shackle Breaker gives you extra recovery, gives you 2,000 Magicka stamina, but it's the same as what I'm wearing right now with this setup, with Dama House and all that. And even with Dama House on that, yeah, you're going to get an extra 1k stamina and Magicka and an extra 1,000 health, but you're not going to get that extra 1,000 health that the build needs to reach these pools. See, that's the nice thing about this combination in sets. You've got this one giving you Magicka stamina on the one piece. This one's giving you Magicka or health, Magicka and stamina recovery, and this one's giving you max health, stamina, and Magicka. And in combination with all that, that's how we get our pools here. I don't have anything into health here. As you can see, I have 24 into Magicka, 40 into stamina, and that's it. So hybrids in this update are completely a viable option. It's just you got to find the right setup for it, skill-wise and all that, to make it really, really worthwhile. CP is pretty easy on this. All you have to do is copy your standard. Like I got 66 in Ironclad, 52 into Thick Skin, 66 and 66 here. And then moving over here, I've got 56, 35. This is where it's going to get weird because you want to put 43, 43, and then 43 into Tenacity. So that way you get resources back from all those different things. Moving on to here, we have 28 into Tumbling, 2 into Shadow Ward, 34 here. And this is where it'll never meet the actual DPS standard, is because you can't get the benefits. So you can put 43 into here, and you can go 56 into here if you wanted to, and you can go 43 and 56, but you wouldn't have anything into Thaumaturge, and you need Thaumaturge. So with this combination, I went 43, 34, so we get that 14% increase, and when we use something like Trap Beast, it takes us up to a 24%, and then we have Thaumaturge, which is at 20%. So we can get a good, well-balanced thing going on, but we'll never quite meet the demand of a true in-game DPS with a hybrid. We can get close. So that's pretty much what I've got going on right now with this. I do want to talk a little bit more about those builds I've got coming out this week with the healers. So I've got 3 healers that are going to be more hybrid, or no, not more hybrid, but more trial in-game stuff, and they're going to be the Nightblade, the DK, and the Sork. And then I have a Templar and a Warden, and 2 Warden builds coming out that are non-meta, which are more like, people are going to say they're more group supportive than they are really healers, but in reality they're really good healers with just really good group support, kind of. And it makes them overall just very well-rounded, in a sense. So I have those two coming out this week, and then on top of that I have my Druid healer, the Stamina Warden healer, revised, revamped, refabricated, if you will, into something a little bit different, and it's going to come back. And then next week I actually have a few classic builds coming. One is the solo build for Warden, the Adventurer, with the Sword and Shield. That is coming back, guys, because I have a new setup for it, and it is a really just powerful beast setup for that thing in solo play, and it works out really well, and it does use Sword and Board, and it's a solo build, so it's something that you're going to want to use solo. You're not going to want to use with a group because of how it works. The other things I have going on with that next week is mostly solo builds. I have a lot of solo builds, and then I have one other tank build that I will be releasing sometime soon. I just need to finalize some changes to it and everything like that, and once I have that done, I'll be releasing that build, and it is a specialized build. I call it a specialized build because it's not your atypical tank build. And then I will be doing other tank builds after that in all three categories of Magicka tanking, Stamina tanking, and what I mean by that is like staff tanking, two-handed tanking, sword and board tanking, and even dual wield tanking. And I will be doing builds for all of those here soon. So all these builds that I'm talking about, all these builds will be coming out soon, along with guides to go with them to explain how to play these types of builds and why there's like an ease of entrance into these types of builds, because these builds are a lot more difficult and challenging to play than your average sword and board tank or ice staff tank. They take a lot more skill and a lot more patience, I should say, to gain an understanding in how they work and how effective they can be. Because I've done a lot of testing this update with two-handed tanks, and I will tell you this much: two-handed tanks, dual-wield tanks, and staff tanks are really something a lot of people are going to be interested in. But I will tell you guys this much: you probably won't be using a lot of these builds in the end game until they become accepted by the in-game community as actual things that can work. So until that happens, don't try or plan to use a lot of these builds there. And like I said, you have to, if you don't know what you're doing with these builds, it's really hard to get them set up and get them working properly. But once you get them working properly, the two-handed tanks, all that stuff, they work super well. They're really amazing tanks, especially the two-handed tanks. They're like one of my favorites to use. So, and I do have one tank that's coming out. It's called the Celestial Guardian, and it is a tank build, but you can use it as a kind of a mixed bag. If you're not interested in tanking, you can do some minor adjustments and make it more solo friendly. If you want to do more damage with the build, you can set it up to be more of a DPS if you need it, you know, and this is for like normal dungeons, veteran dungeons, maybe some normal trials, that kind of thing. Like, it'll work great in there, but it's not something you're going to want to use in the actual like in-game thing, unless you get a good group of in-game players who are willing to work with, like, maybe fine-tuning it a little bit better than I can. But I don't think you really can do much with it better than what I've already got it set up as. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I've got a lot of things going on. Like I said, with everything, Summerset's going to be out tomorrow, so I'm going to be on both PTS and live. I'm going to be spending half my days in PTS and half my day in live. For the next couple weeks, pretty hardcore, and then eventually when I get to doing my guides and things like that, I will be focusing mainly from the live servers, because I'm hoping by then I will be able to have my setups to the you know, like, I'll be able to have my build set to that standard on the live servers. So, but like I said, it just depends on how things go between now and then. If everything works out, I should have the Celestial Guardian up and running. That's going to actually be my main character. My Wood Elf is actually going to go into that, even though a Dark Elf is better for it. I'm going to do it with my Wood Elf because I just like her as a character overall. And the way the build works with the Templar is just really, really crazy. So I'm kind of excited about that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I got going on, like I said. So it's up to you how and what you want to do with your builds, or with the builds that I do release this week. The healer builds, I hope you guys are excited for those. I'm super excited for not just the meta ones, but mainly the non-meta ones, because I'm doing something completely unique with these. Like, I have a build called the Shaman coming out. I have a build called the Cleric, and then on top of that I have the Druid, which everyone knows is a stamina healer. But I've done, like I said, I've done some major adjustments with all these to make them more viable and interesting. So in fact, this right here is very close to the stamina healer setup almost on the Warden, on the Druid. It's very close to this, I'll just say that. And it does use dual wield on the front bar with Resto Staff back bar. So, and it does have a lot of spell damage, but it has more recovery than it does spell damage, so that's kind of the thing. It does have some weapon damage, but that's mainly because of certain factors and everything like that. But it's actually pretty good. I like it. It works out well, so in the long run. But I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But it does have, like I said, a really good amount of recovery. That's what kind of separates it. And it doesn't use the Mundus Stone for crit. It actually uses the another Mundus Stone. It uses 2 Mundus Stones, but both of them work out really well for the build. And yeah, or sorry, it uses the crit one. It doesn't use the lever one. So, but that's so that way you have the high crit to make the heals hit for a decent amount more often and everything like that. But overall, it's a really fun build. I love the Druid build. I really like the Shaman build too, and I really, really like the Cleric. They're both very, 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 very good builds when it comes to their workings and understandings. So, but yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Summerset, one more day. Well, not even a day, not even 24 hours, and we should be in playing Summerset tomorrow. So that'll be really cool. I will be releasing the first healer tomorrow, which is the Dragon Priest, and I will also be releasing the Necromancer, which is the Nightblade healer. So we have those two coming tomorrow morning, and then the next day I have what I call the Daedric Summoner, which is, or the Daedra Summoner, which is the Sorc healer build, and then the day after that I have the Cleric and or the Daedric Summoner, and then I have the Druid, and then the next day I have the other 2 builds coming out. And you guys might like the Druid. It like I said, it's a little bit different, but it works out really well, and it's super OP in a sense in how it works. So, but it's something that I'm definitely going to be making my character into with this next update. So it's actually kind of cool and really exciting, like I said. So again, if you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.